With that, I would like to welcome another group of students, the so-called Climate Wanderers. And I believe Alexandra Stieger is presenting for the group. Alexandra, you're here. And actually, you're not alone. The group
Hello.
is with you. That's great. Then the floor is yours.
So, can you see the presentation?
Yeah, we cannot hear you very well. It seems very distant, sounds rather distant. So
now we can see the presentation.
We can see the presentation for sure, yeah.
Hello, can you hear me now?
It's not very loud, but yeah, we can.
Okay, we try. Yeah, hello and good afternoon to everyone. My name is Alexandra Stieger, this is Gerald Hofbauer, and this is Eva Holzinger. We are part of the Wanderers of Changing World team, and today we're going to present to you our project, the Climate Walk. Keep in mind that this project is still a work in progress, but we would like to share with you our project design and focus on our communication of climate change. I'm sorry, it's okay, now it's working. So who are we? We are a transdisciplinary team of academics, activists, artists, and above all, friends. We combine social and natural sciences and social and art work in order to integrate different disciplines and perspectives. But what are we doing? As the title already indicates, we walk, as simple as it is. As of next June, we walk 12,000 kilometers across Europe, from the North Cape in Norway to the westernmost point in Portugal, to collect empirical data on climate change and changing climates. People often connect climate change to the melting of the poles. As important as the lonely iceberg floating on an iceberg is, what happens to our livelihood, the place where we live in, should not be overseen. That's why we walk through different biophysical and socio-cultural climates along 15 European states in 16 months to look at the very local outcome and to emphasis on unseen places as well as unheard voices. We want to examine and understand local perceptions and experiences of living in environments impacted by climate change and the everyday practices in coping with it. It is about relaying and connecting the stories together to create a better understanding of this complex phenomenon and ultimately bringing people together to form bonds of cooperation and solidarity. We want to create a space where various stakeholders can connect and exchange experiences, views, and ideas, and connect the global with the local in the hope to inspire people to come to innovative approaches to deal with climate change on the very local level. For this, we invite everyone to walk with us. The Climate Walk is thus not just a research project, but also an education and even a media art project. And as this wouldn't be enough, probably the biggest adventure of our lives. Yes, we are researchers, but also, and equally important, we are activists. We don't look at climate change, or in general, our socio-cultural system, from an external position as it doesn't affect us. We are part of it and we feel the consequences. You all know we are at a point where we need to act. And maybe this is a generational difference. But we as young scholars who have to live with the consequences refuse to fly to some lonely island to look at the consequences and then preach about them every week at another non-virtual conference and by this enhance all of it. Academia is linked to activism, and we learn from them and they learn from us. And it becomes ever more important to work together. We want to bring our insights back to the people, as this is ultimately the role of science. Generate knowledge accessible to everyone. Yes, we use unconventional ways of gaining knowledge, and we also use unconventional ways of spreading it. Through workshops on route and the use of media and even art. But maybe this is nowadays necessary to not only give something back to the local, but also to share it with the global audience. Through this, local voices are being given the opportunity to be finally heard and inspire more people to actions. And now Eva will show this to you with the help of an example.
Right. So before we start with some, thank you. Before we start with some basic introduction about the three mentioned pillars, I want to share some insights we collected during our first test walks. We were walking in the Waldviertel, which is located in Austria next to the Czech border. Well, I was walking and I met a man picking berries in the forest, and we started a conversation. He told me, berries no longer grow here. I used to collect 20 kilos of blueberries, and now it's only 2 kilos per day. I asked him, the most anthropological question, why? He answered, because the forest is sick here, and the berries need shadow to grow, otherwise it's too hot for them. Another big why? Why is the forest sick? Because of money and people, he answered. They cut it all, and that's why the forest is sick now and no more berries grow here. We walked together a bit and he showed me around the forest. He showed me some memorable places. I asked him again, do you think also climate change may play a role in this issue? His face got a bit angry and he told me, I don't really understand these things with climate change and the 1.5 thing, but I think the topic with climate change is a bit overrated. So concerning this question, which is raised by the panel, in which setting does knowledge about climate change generates concern, in this given example, if we speak about climate change on a global level, there's no concern, or let's say there's no relation to it. Rather, it was angriness answered by angriness and mistrust. But on a local level, when it happens very close to the individual person, even maybe not called climate change, also in their inhabitant environment, linked with memories, feelings, and there that generates concern. So we can see there's a gap between the local and the global understanding of climate change and how those are related to each other. So keep this example in mind, and now I continue with our research approach. So one pillar of the three is the research project, and we call it We Listen. The aim of the research project is to understand different ways of how climate change and changing climates in Europe is experienced, practiced, and acted on. All members of the team will be hiking while listening to the people on the trail. With all that in mind, our main research will be how do people experience climate change and changing climates. Further, I want to give you just a short introduction into our theoretical framework. There's much more behind it, but I try to be as short as I can. Our theoretical framework consists of a synthesis of several theoretical approaches designed for understanding and analyzing the interaction and the interconnectedness of climate and climates. Well, you thought maybe already they're always talking about this climate and climates. What do we mean by that? By climate, we refer to a biophysical phenomenon. Changing climates refers to the socio-political and cultural manifestation of climate change in the form of local stories, narratives, representation, and practices across Europe. We use this dichotomization of these two non-identical categories as an analytical starting point. Only analytically, not ontologically, distinguish between climate, as I said already, as a part of the biophysical world, and climates as part of the sphere of the social, political, and cultural signification. With that, we may be able to grasp the interactions between the climate change and changes in socio-political climates. Precisely because of the interconnective character of the manifold interactions between this climate and climates, it makes sense to approach these interactions through different theoretical approaches, which we called heuristic axis. Inspired by Jahoda and Lazarsfeld, we consider heuristic axis as an explorative tool enabling us to grasp and understand the complex entanglements and relation of climate and climates. These axes are in turn shaped by conceptual pairs, which we want to use for looking at the interdependence of climate and climates. For example, through the lens of global, local, nature, culture, material, ideal, anti-politic, politics, structure, agency, heard, unheard, and human and non-human. For each of the 6 axes, we then move on to apply theoretical approaches from different disciplinary traditions at the intersection of natural and social science. I give you a short introduction also to our methodological approach. Our starting point for this project, as you know already, is moving from one place to another on foot. In reference to Tim Ingold and Jova Gunst, we go as far as to call our fieldwork footwork. What we do when we walk is that we follow paths, we follow people, and we follow people's stories. Not only are we convinced that walking enables a different kind of perception of the surrounding environment, but also do we believe that movement and knowledge are interwoven. Whereas cars, trains, planes are simply too fast, walking is simply the most likely method to perceive and describe the landscape and people's dwelling activities within landscapes. We divided our methodological approach in 3 phases. The first phase is before the walk, we do a discourse and text analysis by each country we walk through. The second one is like during the walk, we will use sensing ethnography, different visual methods, participant observation, different kind of interviews, and structured online survey, which allows us also to compare different countries, podcasts, blogs, and vlogs as method. The third phase is to transcribe, coding, analyzing this all as material, and write scientific and non-scientific articles and books about it. But about the spreading of the knowledge, Gerald will tell you more.
Thank you both. Well, as we said before, we really have 3 pillars which make up our project. The second of which is the education project, which we summarize under We Talk. And these 3 pillars really reinforce each other. It is designed to do that. So yeah, it's not to be seen separate from each other, but really to have a reinforcing effect. So the education project, what is it? On the way during the route, we organize workshops in order to give space to local communities for exchange of experiences, of knowledge, also for finding solutions to local problems. And our role there is not one of teachers, but of mediators. We are in the background there, and we want to provide a space for local communities to really talk about the local issues and start working on them. So we are using the SDGs and the EU climate action frameworks as common frameworks, so we can connect these local and global to their global corresponding global phenomena. So to get the understanding needed for climate action, actually. Right, and then the third pillar of our project is the media art pillar, where we cooperate with local artists and also with media outlets to make art and media content. The bigger goal here is to reach a wider audience and to raise awareness for the different experiences we gathered there. In this way, we hope to find and to tell those emotionally engaging stories it needs for people really to start caring about their local circumstances, and also by the next step about the global and yes, about the climate we all are living in. So with this holistic approach, we try to really start people to get engaged. Thank you.
So if you think now this is a project that I'm interested in, or even more I would like to support, I'm very happy to tell you that there are many ways to do so. So on the very basis, you can just check out our website, follow us on social media, subscribe to our newsletter, connect us with your institution or your work, and just spread the word and walk with us. We are still at the beginning, and we are happy about any support we can get. As you can see here, we also have a knowledge association that serves as an advisory council consisting of relevant stakeholders from various fields, including Peter. Also, we already have a few institutions under them, the Department of Social and Cultural Anthropology here in Vienna, that support us in various kinds. So thanks to the department, thanks to Peter and Susa, thanks to you for listening, and yeah, keep in mind and don't stop walking. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much to all of you for this great collective presentation. Very well done. And yeah, the floor is open for questions and comments.